Well, g'day everybody, and how you doing today? Haven't made any videos for a while. Been a bit busy. Last year we were hectic. We were flat out right up until 3 days before Christmas when I knocked off, and I had exactly 3 weeks holiday before I came back to work. And since I've been back, we've been hectic too. Here in Queensland we've been having a lot of floods and a lot of damage to the railway system, railway lines and stuff. So I've been busy running down to Rockhampton since I got back, done a few trips down there. But for the last 2 days, been busy doing maintenance on my truck, and I thought I'd make a video and show you a bit of what goes on when we get time to actually do some work. So here we go. So I bought my truck in the other day, backed her in over the pit here in the shed to do an oil change, do a service on it, just change oil and filter, grease it, adjust the brakes, and just give her a quick check over. And it's just gone from one job to another. This is second day now, and been absolutely flat out on it trying to get everything done, because once I popped the bonnet, change oil, I noticed a lot of other things wrong with it too. I'll just tip the bonnet up here for a sec and give you a look under the engine bay. So first thing I noticed as soon as I lifted the engine, carbon everywhere. Cracked exhaust manifold. So as you can see here, I've taken the exhaust manifold off. It's actually a 3-piece manifold. Seeing you got 3 heads on a Cummins, and this is an old Cummins N14 electronic select, what they call. It's 430 horsepower, and you had to take the exhaust manifold off because she was all cracked. Had to take the turbo off and that. Now I've left everything hooked up. I've just unbolted it from the manifold. So took that off, and it costs way too bloody much. So instead we've just V'd it out and got some heated her up, got some cast iron welding rods, and just welded the manifold up for now. It's been done before. It's not the first time it's been welded. Probably won't be the last time in this engine's life. So we've just done that, and as you can see, that's the piece for that head, and I've just got to fit it up. I'll take it over now and do it actually. And here's the rest of the manifold here sitting on the fuel tanks. You can see that's where the turbo bolts on. And we've just got to fit that in there. They just basically slide straight in and fit the whole manifold up. But we can't do that until we do another job, which has turned out to be a bit of a hassle too. So I'll show you about that as well. Once I lifted the bonnet and I noticed the cracked exhaust manifold, while I was in here undoing the bolts nut, I also noticed cracks in something else. And if you can see through there, that's actually looking straight through into the cab of my truck. There's an engine cover, like a little cowling, because this engine does actually protrude through the firewall. About the actual cutout's about 10 inches into the firewall, and there's a plastic cover that goes in there with heat insulation. So that's the view from looking inside the cab, looking back at the actual back of the engine. Now the plastic cover, the engine cowling that goes in here, was all cracked, and there was a lot of hot air and a lot of heat and a lot of exhaust fumes and stuff from the cracked manifold coming into the cab. And so we decided that we'd go and buy a new one from Western Star. So I rang them up and asked them if I could order a new engine cover, and they informed me that the engine covers, they stopped making them in 2007. You can't get a new one anywhere in the world, and when they were available they were $1,060 for a piece of plastic with a bit of insulation on it. So instead of nothing we could do, so we took the old one, well, what was left of it, to a fiberglasser and got him to make a mould and build one for us. So there we go, that's what the engine cover looks like if you're sitting in the driver's seat looking down at the floor. As I said, we took it to a fiberglass. That's the bit that actually sits on the floor of the truck on an angle like that, and that's the bit that bolts to the firewall, which is vertical. And so that's the engine cover. It cost us $220 to get one made up out of fiberglass, and all we've got to do, I've just painted it, put a couple of coats of flat black on it, and then we've got to put the heat insulation. Steve's gone on board about 3 different kinds of insulation. We've got just the normal thick foam here with silver reflective material. We've got the flash track weatherproof taping to actually tape it up with as we cut it and that. But he's also bought 2 other kinds of insulation, one made of tar with silver flashing on each side, and also another foam one. So he's going to buy some contact cement, and so we can glue it all in, and then we'll be able to bolt that up. Once we've got the engine cover back in place, then I'll be able to bolt the exhaust manifold back on. And that, now another job while we were doing all the things for about the last 3 weeks before Christmas was this track rod or locator rod on the back of the dip here. Both bushes especially this one was totally flogged out. That one wasn't too bad, but this one was totally destroyed and it was rubbing metal on metal. So I ordered 2 new bushes and yeah, got them pressed out yesterday. Actually pressed the old ones out of here. Steve made up a special size sleeve to press them, and he pressed those out. We pressed the new bushes in, and I've bolted all that up. And don't know if you can see, but down in there is a nice new white shocky as well. Let's go for a walk down into the pit so I can show you underneath here. So there we go, there's the brand new shocky. It's a Super Shock power down one. When I took the old one off, and this is an Australian company, okay, they're an Australian company and they make shock absorbers. Well, that's what I thought. These are the old ones, same thing, same company, same part number. The old one I took off had made in Canada on it. This new one here has got made in Mexico on it. So yeah, so much for a good Australian company. Also, while I'm under, I thought for those of you who have never seen New Way, the heavy duty New Way airbag suspension, this is what it looks like right here. Basically you got these big trailing arms that mount on the chassis there. You got these big trailing arms like that. Your airbag sits on top right at the back of the arm, and that's mounted to the differential housing there, the axle. And then you've got this big crossbar here with bushes as well that also allows it, as it goes up and down, it allows it to flex. And very good, great for off-road, because these arms here, as you can see, they're curved at front, very heavy duty, and they just skid up over any rocks, logs, washouts, stuff like that. And there's quite a few gouges in the bottom of these ones, that's for sure. So yeah, that's the New Way suspension, very basic and very good, I reckon. It's one of the best bloody airbag suspensions for off-road work. Puts the power down really well. So yeah, fitted new bushes and new shockies, and also another thing you'll notice here is the mud guards on the truck. We've just fitted brand new mud guards. The old rubber, Steve runs conveyor belt mud guards on all his trucks. There's the old one laying on the ground there. You can see it was all split and damaged and just gone all rotten from over the years. So we ripped her off and we've put this new thinner rubber on. But yeah, I think it should do pretty well. So yeah, the truck's looking pretty good. Got the new shocky, new bushes, new mud guards, gonna have a new engine cowling, exhaust manifold welded up. So everything's looking pretty good. And I suppose while I'm here, I'll take you for a bit of a walk around the truck and show you, because I haven't really, even though you've seen plenty of videos of me driving that, you haven't seen much of the truck. So well, little additions. Stainless steel water tank here for washing your hands and drinking. Always fill that with rainwater, never tap water. That way it stays clean all the time. This truck, like all Steve's trucks, is fitted with a Groeneveld auto greaser. So you don't have to grease. The only part of this truck you have to grease is the tail shaft, drive shaft, that's it. Everything else is greased automatically. Fire extinguisher there. Air conditioning condenser mounted on the back of the cab to keep the heat away from the engine so she doesn't overheat. And I'll also show you the ice pack. Now this is one of the original ice packs. You can see here, this is one of the original type ice packs with the old Kubota in her, and it is noisy. Not the exhaust, but the actual rattling. It rattles and it vibrates the whole bloody truck. And yeah, it's one of the hardest ice packs I've ever had to sleep with because it's that bloody noisy. But it's good, at least it charges up the batteries. If you get a flat battery, you can start it at least enough to charge your batteries. And also it is bloody cold. Like I turn it on the lowest temperature setting and the lowest fan setting, and I've still got a big feather dooner in the bunk that I've got to use because it gets that bloody cold. So yeah, this year we've, 2010 has been a fair bit of money spent on this old truck. It's a 94 model, 4964 FX. Heavy duty Western Star, and it's fitted with a N14 Cummins Select electronic, rated at 430. Now what have we done so far this year, or should I say last year? We've got to put, it's got a brand new compressor, which was quite a few $1,000, about $3.5 grand. Let's see, new diff centers. It was a little bit high geared. Originally it had 4:5:6 ratio, 4.56 to 1 ratio in the differentials, but we didn't realise the guy who owned it before, Steve, actually geared it up really high. It had 3.73 to 1. ratio, and it was just way too high geared, so we've put 489s in it, geared it right down so it's good for heavy haul. When we did that, of course, going from 373s to 489s, it'd only do 77 kilometres an hour. It just wouldn't go any faster because it was geared that low, so then we had to put a double overdrive 18-speed Road Ranger gearbox into it, which was another $6,000 on top of the diffs, but it was well worth it because now she'll sit on 100 kilometres an hour at 1850 revs, and it pulls like a freight train. It'll come up out of the hills in Mount Isa in high range, so yeah, she's not a bad old bit of gear. And I've never really done a video of inside the cab either, so for any of you who want to see what like inside the old Western Stars, that's pretty much the dashboard there, all your switches and your brakes over there, air brakes and stuff, and then here's all your gauges and lights. And we found a very novel thing for these plastic caps that you get off the top of the drinks. When you buy a drink, you got to pull a little plastic cap off before you can pop up your drink to suck it. Well, they fit perfectly over the lights in the dashboard, and it keeps all the dust out of them. So I've only got 2 more to go for the indicators for trailer 2 and trailer 3 indicator, and then I'll have a whole collection. But yeah, so that's basically inside the truck. I've got an angle fridge in the middle of the truck here, and yeah, it's just a basic old Western Star Heritage cab. Air conditioning controls up there, UHF on that side, and CB here. Put a new Pioneer stereo in it last year as well with a USB drive and CD player in it, and it's not bad. She's for 2 speakers, it really pumps out the sound, and there's the auxiliary speaker for the UHF so you can hear it, so it's nice and loud. As far as my bunk goes, well, this is the driver's side end door, and there's the toolbox underneath there with containers of stuff, and there's my bedroom. This is the end I put my head up usually. There's my doona and pillow and stuff like there, and then up inside, probably can't see, but there's shelving up there where I put my clothes and that. And then here's the controls for the ice pack, your temperature, your fan and the key. So yeah guys, that's it. That's basically a quick run around of the old Western Star that I drive. It's a good old truck. Well, you wouldn't think that 430 horsepower is much for pulling triples and for doing heavy haul, but yeah, it's a little bit slow, so I'm getting off the mark, but once she's wound up she goes well, and it'll hold its speed, no worries at all. So that's my old girl. Yeah, slowly getting her all tidied up and that, but all for naught really, because the next video I'm going to make might be a shock to all yous, and that's the one when I tell you that I'm quitting my job. That's right, believe it or not, I'm quitting driving forever.